I wouldn't see the sun the entire day. You'd go in the dark, you'd leave in the dark. And people wondered why you were so depressed or have anxiety. And the same thing going to school with these kids. They'd get up, they'd go to daycare, they'd be having to sit for 8 hours a day. They're not getting as much sunlight as they need or getting as much activity as they need.
Welcome back to the RV Queens podcast, where we delve into the lives of women making money and living life on the road. I'm your host, Kate White, and this episode is one that is going to stay with you long after you hear it. Kayla Mathieu is on the show today to talk about the radical and totally brave way that she and her family reimagined their traditional American life after her son was diagnosed with multiple neurodivergent conditions. When the school system and traditional structures failed him, they hit the road. What happened next? Healing, peace, and family connection, and a whole new sense of purpose for Kayla. Through that transformation, Kayla found her voice and a calling. She's now built a brand called Wandering Past Limits, where she helps others discover wellness through adventure. Whether it's navigating life with ADHD, reclaiming your mental health, or simply getting back into nature, her message is clear. There is another way to live and thrive. Kayla's story is powerful and deeply relatable, especially if you've ever questioned the path you were told to follow. Plus, we dive into her background as a nurse and a circus artist. Yes, really. The business she's building from the road and how she's weaving it all together to help others live more grounded, connected lives. Real quick before we dive in, if you're craving real conversations just like this one that you're about to hear with women who get what it's like to juggle travel, family, and building something meaningful, come check out the RV Queen Circles. It's our private online membership where we host weekly chats, share resources, and cheer each other on through this wild ride. Go to rvqueenspodcast.com/community and use code PODCAST for 20% off your membership for life. All right, my friends, grab your coffee and let's roll. Hello and welcome to the RV Queens podcast. Kayla, where in the world are you this week?
Currently in Kansas.
Oh, really? I don't know why I'm laughing so hard. I didn't expect that.
No, they're random places that I go.
I have a lot of, we're coming out of winter season, so most people are still in the South. No, Kansas. Spring. Have you guys been dealing with any tornado-y weird weather going on there?
No tornadoes here, but 2 weeks ago we had a big dust storm in Oklahoma. So we were dealing with that a couple of weeks ago, but so far it's been nice and in the 70s here in Kansas. We're hanging out. I'm lakeside right now. My son has been doing his schoolwork and going fishing. So
Oh, perfect. Yes, yeah. I love it. I like to camp near water if at all possible. It's just the best. There's always something to do, right? Yeah. Yes. All right, Kayla, you have a really fascinating story behind your build up to RV life. I mean, you honestly have a really fascinating story in general with your background in circus arts, as I've come to learn. That's the professional term for it. And also, you've lived through a lot of craziness as an RN back in the day. So we'll kind of get into all the nooks and crannies of your story, but I want to start off with you briefly describing the journey with your son and why you and your husband decided to totally shake up your life in South Dakota and start RV travel life with your family.
It's been almost 3 years now. Actually, it's been 3 years. My son, he is officially diagnosed with ADHD, disruptive mood dysregulation disorder, oppositional defiant disorder, sensory processing disorder. All of these disorders actually kind of come full circle into high functioning autism. And while he was trying to go through school, even before he started kindergarten and daycare, we were having issues. He was constantly being disciplined for his behaviors. He was constantly in this state of fight or flight mode. Anything that went slightly wrong, he would either fight his way out of it or he would run. When he was in the first grade, he ran away from school. Cops had to come and find him. When he was in the sixth grade, 11 years old, he was playing gaga ball. I don't know if you know what that is.
Yeah.
But contact sport, got into a fight. And because at the age of 11 in the state of South Dakota, if you get into a fight, the parents can press charges, assault charges. And the boy that was involved in the fight, his parents decided to press charges. So we sent my son to a specialty school for kids with autism. And he did really, really well the first couple weeks. Then he went to go play soccer, another contact sport, got into another fight, and put the boy in a headlock. A headlock is considered a chokehold, and he was arrested and charged with felony assault at the age of 11.
Wow.
So we had to have because it was a felony charge, he was taken by the state, and we had to have a custody hearing to get him back into our custody. And then we had to go to court to fight these assault charges because of his age and because of his diagnoses. He didn't really understand the court system or what was going on. And we spent 6 months fighting these charges. He spent his 12th birthday in court. But we were able to see a court-appointed psychiatrist who deemed him unfit to stand trial. And we were able to get all the charges dropped. But this was kind of a wake-up call for us. He is not functioning well in what we deem as necessary for kids. Like, they have to go sit in school. They have to sit in class for so long. And he just didn't fit that mold. So we just made this decision, like, you know what? We don't want him going down this path. This is a slippery slope. He's only 11. And we're going to court. This isn't going to get better. This is just going to keep getting worse. So we made the decision to pull him out of school, start homeschooling and working with him and focusing one-on-one. And we have seen a complete flip in his personality. We have seen a complete flip in how he reacts to dealing with stimuli, being frustrated. And he has gotten so much better. He is so much more helpful. Instead of having police knocking at our door now, we actually have campground hosts knocking at our door, telling us how amazing he is and how sweet he is.
Oh, wow.
It has been just an amazing turn of events for him and for us. He has been doing so much better.
Well, thank you for sharing that story. I'm sure that's has some emotional weight to it, like recounting that. I'm sure you've told that story a lot, but it's like still getting it out there for people to hear. It's got to be challenging for you, and also it takes a lot of bravery. So thank you, first of all, for sharing that.
And sharing this story too, I have found that a lot of people have similar stories. Mm-hmm. So just knowing that, hey, I'm not alone. If you have a similar story, you're not alone. There are other options. There's holistic ways to deal with it. Not everybody fits that mold of sitting still in school. There are issues that we need to take into account and really help these kids. And this has been a huge benefit for him.
I can kind of see two sides of you kind of coming together with the story, because I know your history as a nurse, and we'll kind of get into that part of you in a little bit, but then also as a mother and a more, like you said, holistic minded person, you're like, okay, all of the medical diagnoses and the systems, right? You were in a healthcare system and your kids were in the regular school system. All those things are kind of failing you, and you just created a life that works and for your family. And also, leads to everyone thriving in your family unit instead of just being forced into these boxes.
Yes. That has been
I love that.
Huge for us.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Well, we just started off really deep.
Yeah.
I usually save the more deeper questions till we have a warm-up period. But you know what? We just went there from the start.
Right in.
So thank you for going there with me. We started off with a bang. I do want to give listeners some insight into your multi-passionate personality for a minute. And I have to bring up this topic. Tell us about your experience in the circus arts.
So my son gets his ADHD from mom.
Okay.
And like you said, I'm multi-passionate. I love doing all sorts of things. After my daughter was born, I needed a workout program, and I don't like traditional workouts. And I just stumbled into the circus arts. After training for 3 years, me and my friend who had been training alongside each other started coaching at our local gym. And we had been coaching for about 3 years as aerial artists, mostly in aerial silks. I like to say it as it's like 2 paneled curtains that you would climb 20 feet in the air, wrap yourself in it, and then do all sorts of fun little moves and drops and things like that. And it got to a point where we had so much fun teaching it, we started doing performances. And we had started our own business, but then all the things with my son started happening, and I shifted away from that. And now I help her in digital marketing. She started her own gym. So she has her gym now in performances, and I'm on the back end doing digital marketing for her and helping her still build it. And actually this summer, I'll probably be back in the gym helping her out a little bit.
Am I wrong in remembering, did you work with Cirque du Soleil, or is it just Cirque du Soleil style performances that you did?
It's the style performances. Okay. I have done training with some of the performers in Las Vegas, but I never actually performed with any of the Cirque du Soleil performers.
That is so cool. For some reason, it hits me as especially ironic that you're from South Dakota and that you're a performer in that way. I don't know why that, I feel like everyone in South Dakota is just a homemaker mom that lives on a farm. And you're no, in my spare time, I do aerial silks and teach people how to do this.
And I teach people how to fly in the air. And
yeah, I love it. Okay, so speaking of you being multi-passionate, something I know about you from being in RV Queen circles with you over the past year or so is that you've explored a lot of different ways of making money on the road. At one point, I remember you were working on selling macrame online or something, in addition to starting to be a content creator. You've explored a lot of paths, right? And we all have. I love it. Okay, so will you please just describe for us all the little paths you've explored with making money on the road, and then how you ended up with your brand that you have currently now, Wandering Past Limits?
Okay, this is another fun story. So starting out fresh on the road, I had left my job as a registered nurse working in the operating room and leaving the healthcare field to homeschool my kids. I felt like I was lacking my own identity. I had to give up my identity, who I was. I gave up working as a registered nurse and then my secondary job working as a circus performer. I felt lost for a long time because I didn't know where I fit in that mold. What am I supposed to be doing? My husband has a great job and he's able to support the family, but I felt like I needed something for me. And I started just kind of venturing into different avenues. I started out as writing blogs. So it was Camping with Kayla, writing my blogs for just family and friends. And I found out that I really liked it. I really enjoyed doing it. I liked writing. I liked photography, taking pictures, but I had no idea what I was doing. I had no background in digital anything. I could barely turn on the computer. So this was not something that I thought I would ever really get into, but I started to really love it. But I had no idea what I was doing. So I kind of reshifted focus because I wanted to build my own brand, build my own business. And I started working in thinking maybe macrame, boho, something that I could create. I started it. I have some products, but eventually I got so busy working with digital creating. Like my digital creation that I prefer is YouTube videos. I really love making those long form YouTube videos. I love making them educational. I love teaching people new things. So the boho project kind of got pushed to the side. And instead, I started focusing more on the YouTube channel, making long videos and just teaching people, educating kids. That was huge for me. With that, my friend that I told you about in the circus arts had posted on LinkedIn. She was looking for a digital marketer. As I was getting into creating and getting more comfortable with the computer, I'm like, hey, hello, I'll do it. So she hired me. Her background, she has a very interesting background too. So she worked at the hospital, but as a marketer. She was the director of marketing at a major hospital in the town we live in. And she's like, I will teach you everything I know. So over the last 6 months, I've been helping her and she's been helping me and has been teaching me everything from website design, how to create a website, to all of the different facets of marketing and producing videos, even to a point of the psychology of fonts. She's been teaching me all of it, which has been great. We've been helping each other. But from there, I, again, still had that urge to start my own brand, my own business. So Camping with Kayla switched gears and instead went into a area that I am really passionate about, which is wandering past limits. For me, that is a holistic platform where I can educate people about the benefits of nature, the benefits of travel, and it can transform your mental health, your physical health. And that is really what I'm trying to switch gears to. I feel like a lot of healthcare today is like medication. This medication has this kind of side effect. Let's get you on another medication, where I feel like there are so many different avenues that we could take more holistically to help people. So I'm slowly bringing this into my new brand and trying to help people in a different way.
If you're anything like me and love soaking up that Midwest lake life in the summer, I've got a spot you have to check out. Coconut Cove RV Resort in Hazel Green, Wisconsin is an Our Journey campground that's packed with fun for the whole crew. They've got a 13-acre lake with an aqua park, sandy beaches, boat rentals, and tons of family-friendly activities. Whether you're in an RV, a glamping pod, or a lakefront cabin, this tropical-themed resort has what you're looking for. Click the link in the show notes to book now and start your journey with Our Journey. How do you feel that you pulled on your experience as a nurse when you created a brand that inspires people to, and I think your slogan is, discover wellness through adventure?
I get this, from my own personal experience, from my son's experience, how much we have benefited from being just even outside, and how much sunlight gives so much more benefit than being locked into a building for 8 hours. When I worked as a nurse, I wouldn't see the sun the entire day. You'd go in the dark, you'd leave in the dark. And people wondered why you were so depressed or have anxiety. And the same thing going to school with these kids. They'd get up, they'd go to daycare, they'd be having to sit for 8 hours a day. They're not getting as much sunlight as they need or getting as much activity as they need. So being a nurse and seeing that there are other ways to treat people instead of just, here, take this pill for anxiety. Here, take this pill. There are other options. So I want to give people who are seeking other options, those other ways. I'm still digging into it. I'm still fairly new into building this website. Anybody who's built a website and built a brand knows this does take time. But eventually I'd like to become a certified coach in helping people find their wellness as a registered nurse.
I love that. Thank you for giving us a little preview of where your brand is heading to.
This is where we're going.
Yeah. And I love it when people develop this personal brand. I've seen this with a lot of RV queens, like throughout the RV queen circles. They know they want to start a personal brand, and similar to you, explore all these different avenues, and like eventually they find the path and are able to hone in on, okay, this kind of like encapsulates everything that I've come from and my personality and my thoughts, and here's what I want to say, and now here's my personal brand, which I think is an extremely important thing to have just as a professional moving into the next decade. I think everyone should have it. And we're fortunate to be traveling and able, and like digital nomads, and we have like kind of the time and space to explore these things and like hone in on the voice that we want to put out there into the world. So I love that you've kind of combined all these different experiences in your life to develop Wandering Past Limits. So I do want to hear, can you tell a difference in your own mental health from the time you started RV life until now?
Yes. So I suffered from extreme anxiety and panic attacks. And that was hard. I didn't even realize how bad it was until we started our RV traveling, and finding different ways to deal with anxiety has been a huge thing for me. Problems with like OCD and checking everything. I couldn't sleep at night because my brain was always just, what if this happens? What if this happens? And being on the road, it wasn't an overnight change either. It was a slowly trying to realize what is going on and the different aspects that I can use to calm my mind, calm my body. What it came down to, honestly, for me, was meditation. Once I started meditating on a regular basis, my body just calmed down. And then also not being in a state of constant stress. I believe your husband's a nurse. He can relate to this. Working in the hospital was a constant stressor. You were constantly moving. You were constantly busy. Everything was happening all the time. There's emergencies. The burnout is real. And it became so stressful that I couldn't let it go. It took me a year of being on the road to just really decompress and find a space where I felt safe, where I felt okay to just relax. And I wasn't on this constant edge all the time.
That story is so relatable with so many people I've met on the road. I think a lot of us, especially like what I've come to call like high achieving women, where, you know, we've always, I feel like from the age of like, you know, late teens, always been working. And then we went to college and, you know, like excelled. And then we had a job and we had a career. And it's just like chronic stress for like over a decade in your life. And this was my experience. This was my husband's experience. Other people we've met on the road, a lot of women in the RV queen circles. It's like, there was just this constant nonstop pushing, which is literally chronic stress. And I think our parents probably lived through it to some point growing up, but it's like so apparent to me. People living kind of the more traditional American life where it's like both parents have to work in the household and the kids are going to school. It's like they're running around. It's like nonstop, and it throws your body out of whack in ways that's like you don't even understand. When you're in the middle of it, you can't really recognize, you know what I mean? Like you can't recognize that you're just like constantly stressed out about something until you get out in nature. Like everything that your brand is about is like, man, it resonates with me so much because it's like you get out in nature, you give yourself time to rest and like let down and to have moments, you know, meditation. For me, it's like yoga, you know, like just figure out how to like regulate yourself so you're not having that constant stress and anxiety. It's huge. That's like the number one thing about this lifestyle that I think has made an impact clearly for you and your family, but like for a lot of us that we meet on the road. Just like this pulling back the curtain of, whoa, this constant stress, it doesn't have to be that way, you know? There is another way to live.
Yes, exactly. Travel has been a huge part of what has changed our family dynamic. We used to be running constantly. It was go to work, go to outdoor activities, go run around. It got to a point where I was so busy, I would only see my kids 10 minutes a day, if that. You had the weekends with them, and it was cleaning and getting all this other stuff done. It was just constant motion. So being able to travel has been huge for our family and bringing us together close into a close-knit bond where we can actually communicate with each other. We have better communication skills. And that is something that I am currently trying to help others find in their family dynamics or just in their own in their own general wellness. So while I'm working on getting my certified nurse coaching, I currently have my website open for consultations and travel. If you have any questions about travel or outdoor wellness or anything like that, you can find me on my website and set up a consultation where I'd be more than happy to break down everything that I know about travel, where to go, great places to go, good hikes for kids, anything that I can help you with. So that's currently what my website is up and running. And then eventually, as I keep building and get the certification, I will open it up for more wellness as a registered nurse.
I love that. I think that's going to help so many people. So, girl, I just love everything you're about.
Thank you.
Get off the meds, get back to nature, do some travel, get the family unit, working and communicating together. It's such good stuff. Okay, so go ahead and share with everyone. You kind of already talked about your website. Share with us where people can connect with you online, and then I'll ask you my last couple questions here.
So you can find me at Wandering Past Limits. I have a YouTube channel that focuses on different places that we've traveled to, a lot of great hikes, especially for kids. Normally when we go hiking, we take our kids with. So if you're looking for a great location that is kid-friendly, head over to my or to my YouTube channel. You can also head over to my website, Wandering Past Limits, where I do have multiple different blogs up that focus on nature, health, wellness. I'm also adding travel itineraries. My recent one is about Big Bend. So if you're interested in finding all the good spots at Big Bend, how to get there, what to do, head over to my website. You can also find me on social media at Wandering Past Limits.
Perfect. And we will link everything in the show notes for all you listeners. Just quickly scroll down and tap, boom, it'll be on our website. All right. To end, here we go. This season of the podcast, I've been ending with these 1-in-1 questions where I ask a question, you answer, I'll answer. It's just kind of fun and conversational. So my first question today is, what is your most memorable outdoor adventure that you've had with your family?
Oh, most memorable would probably be Hawaii.
Ooh.
We took a family cruise to Hawaii. If you're looking for a Hawaii trip on a budget, I highly recommend taking a cruise to Hawaii. We went over Christmas. It was probably one of our most memorable experiences as a family. We did a lot of hiking at the national parks. My tip, if you do take a cruise to Hawaii, rent a car. Instead of doing any of the excursion packages, rent a car, travel the islands on your own. It's a great way to see everything. It's cheaper than the excursions. And one of the places that we went to gave us boogie boards and all sorts of beach equipment free of charge. We got to rent it from them. When we took the kids boogie boarding out in Maui, hands down, best family experience, best outdoor experience. That would be mine.
That's awesome. Oh my gosh. Well, mine isn't quite Hawaii level, but this past year, we did a big loop out west in 2024. And one of the places that we really liked, even like we did all the national parks, Zion and Grand Canyon and all that stuff. But in Utah, we hit up this place right outside of Hurricane, Utah, which is like close to Zion and St. George and all this stuff. And there's a state park there called Sand Hollow State Park. And we splurged on I think is it a UTV or an ATV? I can't remember which. Basically like a little dune buggy thing for the afternoon. And that state park was so epic. I felt like it should be a national park. Like there's so many different terrains. You have the dunes that you can drive through. And then there's like these crazy red rock formations that the kids like climbed and explored. It's just insanely beautiful and super fun and not very busy. It's like, it was amazing.
Sand Hollow is one of my favorite state parks. We've been there twice now.
Oh, really? It's so fun.
Yes.
And no
we
one
love it.
I mean, I think it's because there's so much natural beauty in the area. Everyone's like, yeah, whatever, Sand Hollow State Park. But for, us Midwesterners, we just could not get enough of the terrain. So.
Loved it.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, my last question for you is this. What is a book you're reading these days that you're really into?
I have been listening to an audiobook about becoming supernatural.
Ooh, I love it.
It's a meditation book, but it's really interesting it's like manifest destiny, how to manifest your destiny.
Yeah. Is that by Gabby Bernstein? I know she has a lot of books like that.
No, it's Joe Dispenza.
Oh, yeah. He's awesome. His meditations are like next level.
Yeah. So I've been listening to that. It's been very interesting. They're very thought-provoking.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, I'm going to have to look that one up now. Well, mine is like very shallow compared to that. I found, I tend to find these books that I really like from laundry room, at campgrounds, how people just like leave books and take a book and leave a book kind of thing. I found this one. It's about this woman who works in tech, and she kind of like happens upon or I should say she's gifted a sourdough starter. I actually have it right here because I knew I couldn't remember the title of it. Sourdough, or Lois and Her Adventures in the Underground Market. For those watching on Spotify or YouTube, there's the cover. And I think I like it so much because the main character works this like really techie, nerdy job, and her life is very sterile. Like she works so much that her apartment is just basically a shell of a home. And then she happens upon learning how to bake bread and becoming like just much more in touch with, natural life away from technology. Yeah. And, as we've discussed in this conversation, that's kind of like the progression we've all been on over the past few years here. And go from like this very cerebral, like rushed, I would say like sterile life to, whoa, let's just get into nature and back to like grounding ourselves. So
yes, less is more.
Yes, so true. All righty, Kayla, that's a wrap for today. Thank you so much for inspiring us all, for being on the show today, for sharing your stories. I really enjoyed this conversation, and even just getting to know you more. It's always fun.
Thank you so much for having me. This has been great.
Thank you so much for tuning in to today's episode and for being part of the RV Queens community. Remember to hit subscribe on whatever platform you're listening on. And guess what? You can have conversations like I had on this episode with your fellow RV women who are living intentionally and making money on the road. Head to rvqueenspodcast.com/community to join RV Queen Circles today. It's a totally unique online space with a shared prosperity model that's all about community over competition. I'd love to have you be a part. All right, guys, I'll see you next week, or hopefully I will see you on the road. There is another way to live.